Nah, another inmendham video. Yay. Maybe. Anyway, I just started with this just stupid things that go on, so I thought I'd do another video response to the no apologies guy. Just as a last hurrah. He just sent another funny email, so I thought I would read that. Yeah. Anyway, anyway. Very funny. Anyway, sorry, camera issue. Stop it. Your camera. Yeah, I don't really like this camera angle much, but it's too late to do anything about it, so I won't bother. I'm trying to remember. Down at the camera. Anyway, Glenos had made a Christmas video that I didn't see because, I was caught up with the cat and everything. Anyway, and, it's quite entertaining, so I'll leave a link below. I have a cameo in it, and, yeah, good role for me. I don't push anyone down the stairs, but, I do get to have some fun. So, anyway, yeah, that's probably worth seeing. So the email, I guess it's somewhere around here. So he writes to me, "It was brought to my attention that you are sharing our private email conversation." Well, again, I don't know, it's private. As I stated when I posted the conversation, I took out anything that I considered to be anything that could possibly be sensitive information at all. And, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, anyway, on your channel, please remove the video or the next communication will be from my lawyer. Well, good, fun. I'll enjoy it. Frankly, there's absolutely no law that I violated, idiot. And I think lawyers are just hilarious. So yes, have your lawyer send me communication because I'm sure I'd enjoy it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You'd have to first come up with some kind of idea of a damage. You have to come up with some idea of a maliciousness or even a recklessness. And as I stated, I already took out anything that could possibly, like I said, even in the remotest way, be considered privileged information. If you want privileged email, you have to put a little notice on your email. Just say this is a privileged communication. And even then, you still have no hope legally. But I'm just saying, you have to at least do the minimum, asshole. Oh, man, you're fucking stupid. So anyway, I thought that was hilarious. And then he followed it up with, "Your claim that consent is so important, and yet you never consented to have my email communication shared with anybody other than you." Well, again, there was nothing in the communication. It was a debate over what constitutes authorize on the subject of what life means. Yes, there's nothing privileged in this conversation. There was no, "Oh, here I'm giving the detailed formula of my, new invention or something." There was nothing that could possibly be construed as a personal communication. And I added you to my contact list. Well, yeah, I think you added me to your Android contact list. See, in Skype, you actually have to send, I think it still works that way, you have to send a contact request. You see, so then it ends up being registered on my contact list, and then I have you on my contact list, and then therefore I can call you. See how that's how it works, idiot. Putting it on your Android just means it's one of your things that you intend to contact, I suppose, but it doesn't mean it's a Skype contact. I sent a request, and here's my proof. Well, there's no proof you sent a request. There's just a proof that you put my name in the contact list. You're a hypocrite and a moron. Well, I think you're a duplicitous, a hypocrite and a moron. So, sure, okay. I think you're evil, nasty, disgusting, ugly, smelly, all those things. My previous email stands. If you do not remove that video, I don't remove videos, so that just ain't going to happen, fuckhead. I will be contacting my lawyer. Go right the fuck ahead. I'll love it. I love being sued. Please, anybody who really desires to sue somebody, sue me, okay? Because I love, filling out the papers after you spend all the money, filling out the papers and just writing, "Prove it, fuckface." I love writing that on paper. It's just so much fun. Prove it, fuckface. Prove first you have a law. prove that I violated in any malicious way. And whatever the third and fourth thing is, you won't be able to prove. But prove any of it. Go for it, asshole. Please record your conversation with your lawyer, because that would even be funny. You're a pretty young guy to have a lawyer already. I guess that whole no apology thing really isn't working for you, is it? Oh, God. I'll be contacting my lawyer. I mean, gee, you're just being a little bit cliche, fucker. It's just whatever. So anyway, he really is a jerk in more than one way, I guess. So he did in some video about the mayor of New York, who's a lunatic. So who cares? I mean, people should laugh at him, even if they would vote for him over the evil Republican, sure. But he is a laughable douche. And that Sinkat guy from the Turk people, yeah, the Turk people, they're idiots. Their whole fucking, just keep bringing in the more illegal aliens, give them all sanctuaries to live in and shit. Fuck that shit. They're idiots. Arguing from first principle antinatalism. There we go. But the other one here, feminism is supremacy, not equality. How so, retard? But yeah, I'm not going to play your video because it's probably not one good explanation of how that's possibly true. So I guess that's why he has a beard. He's doing that, macho man. It's funny.
So sometimes when you start a project, you don't always know where it's going to take you.
Sometimes when you start a project, you don't know where it's going to take you. Okay, so let me see. I don't know what he's talking about here, of course. I'm going to speed this up a little just because it's fun to do. Hopefully the volume's good enough. I mean, I can't do anything about its low volume, but volume is a pain in the ass on the internet. Sorry.
Set out on a path, it's not always immediately obvious what you're going to come across in your travels. And when I started this YouTube channel, I really didn't imagine that I would be spending so much of my time arguing with people about the value of life. That'd be
So you decided to do this channel and you named yourself No Apologies, and you apparently are just picking a bunch of subjects that are controversial, like feminism and whatnot. Maybe you can make some defending Trump videos. That'll be swell and fun. And so yes, and then you're surprised you're getting feedback because you're being controversial. Oh, yeah, you really are pretty stupid. And then you're thinking you're going to sue people on the internet. I've been there and done that. It just can't be done.
the value of life is pretty much self-evident.
Okay, it's self-evident, so that's just amazing. So when I watched the animal who just got hit by a car dying on the side of the road, the value of this experience is just so self-evident. I mean, that's just amazing. So you could look at like the statistics for World War II, and the value of, and you could watch the mushroom cloud, in Japan, and imagine all the people dying of radiation sickness. And it's just obvious that, yes, life is beautiful and fun. I mean, not to just concede that it's, well, yeah, there's a little bit of math to do here. This is just not obviously great. Amazing. And, a little bit of life experience, it's much worse than that. The personal stuff, when you watch people you care about be destroyed in horrible, brutal ways. Yeah, that's really obviously not obvious that life's a great idea when that shit happens. So anyway, but just to start with, we shouldn't even have to argue about the quality of life. It's just obvious. Look, he has pictures of brains and bodies, with their skin peeled off on the background there, so he seems to know something about the fact that we're just biological organisms. And maybe he understands that most of us don't survive to be mature adults.
And even, let's say, among, say, suicidally depressed people for whom their primary experience of life is pain and suffering and misery and frustration.
Yeah, you could just even say people who are born defective and disabled, born blind or something. But it's obvious to them. Can't they see how great it is? What, are they blind?
Even that group of people who have that predisposition or maybe the bias.
Yes, it's always their bias. They're bigots. They're life bigots. They were born with a life bigotry. There wasn't any experience or circumstance that gave them the impression they were in jeopardy. No, it occurred to them on their very own to say, gee, this is all stinky. And there wasn't any stinky. They just made up all the stinky parts.
Towards pessimism, negativity, they don't necessarily accept the idea that life is only about pain and suffering. They rage against that.
It's only about pain and suffering. So obviously they don't think it's only about that. But they understand that it's all just psychology. And the very fact that you're paying this service fee, you're paying for it. The very fact that you're paying for it means that what you're getting in the box can't be a box of vacuous notions in your head. Oh, I am winning. Just a notion in your head. I'm the greatest blah, blah, blah in the world. Just some notional success. No proof that you've accomplished anything, that you've left the world a better place for having been bestowed your presence. No evidence necessarily that you have exactly accomplished anything of merit while you were here, except leave, stains on the rug. You don't pay for that. You pay for things that have value, that have some redeeming value, more value than just the empty box.
Position. So I want to talk about arguing from first principles.
Yeah, first principle is evolution, newsflash. But go ahead, let's see what your first principle is.
Antinatalist position, for example. As I understand it, and if I'm wrong, correct me, let me know in the comments section below.
Well, you complained about the comment section below, so now you're encouraging people to do the very thing you're complaining about. Ugh.
Principle of antinatalism is that life is suffering.
Well, that's some statements. I mean, there's some people who have been quoted saying kind of things like that, but that's, more Buddhism, maybe even Jainism. Valid statement, I suppose, in a poetic sense. But yes, clearly, technically, it's more complicated than that. I would argue that life is addiction. Life is competition and ambition. Lots of elements to that psychology. But the end is you're just going to do this suffering thing, and the only thing on the other side of the plate is what suffering you were lucky enough to avoid. So it's really only going to be some, oh, I won the broken leg award. I only have one broken leg where everybody else has 17 or something. It's not going to be a winner's equation.
Life is pain, and exclusively, or most necessarily, suffering and pain. And what follows from that is, if life...
Yes, because most of our positive sensations are extractions from negative situations. You're happy because you win the lottery kind of thing, because it extracts you from the burdens of poverty. It's always getting extracted from loneliness or fear or a sense of failure or all those kind of things that all the good sensations are really made out of. They're superficial and trivial.
Is suffering, misery, pain, then there's a real moral, ethical, philosophical question about perpetuating more life, which...
Right, imposing it. It's not just that you're perpetuating some free way where you just say, I'm willing to risk myself again. No, you're risking somebody else's self. It's going to be a new self. A self you can't claim ownership of and say that self was me incarnate and therefore I said it was okay. And it will be me that will be tortured, and that person will never say anything I wouldn't say. They'll never say something like, fuck you, cunt. When of course that's what they might say. And therefore you imposed it on a victim for whom you didn't get consent. You wanted to go somewhere, you tied a rope to their leg and dragged them there. That's all. It's that simple. You wanted, you took, you let them pay the price for your joyride. That's all. And you're saying that's ethically okay because you're a scum. A selfish, glib scumbag.
If that were true, as your a priori presupposition, if that were true, then I would say, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, there's a moral ethical question, but I fundamentally disagree. And the strength of argument,
what do you disagree with? I didn't even understand how that logic even works. He's going first principle. So the first principle is, well, you acknowledge that suffering exists. You know, not just say that life is just suffering. Well, clearly, no one logically is saying that. Even the people who say life is suffering, they're not saying that's all it ever is. There's no other moment where you have any peace from your suffering. It's just a general statement that the game is really going to be more about the suffering you're avoiding or the suffering you're enduring. And it's really not going to be about much else.
I disagree. And the strength of arguing from first principles is you don't get lost in the weeds. You make an argument and then you buffer that argument with all of these sub-arguments, right?
You don't get lost in the weeds of what? That imposition is a real word, that consent is a real concept, that you're doing the imposition thing without consent, clearly. You're risking somebody else's welfare. There's no doubt about it. You're going to Las Vegas with their money in your pocket. You're playing the game like you're having fun, and you're saying it's okay if I lose all their money. You're incredibly unethical.
These finer points, nuances, evidence, what have you. But I like arguing from first principles because you get right to the heart of the matter, you cut through all the bullshit, and you can really find the strength or weakness of a particular position, syllogism, formula, whatever the case might be. So
right, so this premise, this argument from, I'll give you an example of the argument I didn't make, okay, that is always a great argument. But it has nothing to do with this subject, because I didn't make any such argument. I didn't dispute anything whatsoever. I didn't counter anything here at all with anything. I haven't said a motherfucking thing, right? He's halfway through his video, hasn't said anything yet.
I happen to think that the anti-natalist first principle is a really foundationally weak principle, because you have to ignore a whole lot of other information in order to make a particular position.
Right, so again, he says we're Buddhists and therefore we have to be consistent with Buddhist philosophy, when Buddhist philosophy takes that line, life is suffering, and all the bunch of different people make a different interpretation out of it. The Jains, even for example, aren't very aggressive in stopping people from having babies. They're very aggressive by not harming animals, but it doesn't seem like they're very aggressive in like, you know, throwing, you know, cow poo at pregos.
If you have to ignore lots of data to support a position, then I think that makes the position fundamentally weak and easy to dismiss, right? If you believe that life is all...
yes, well, again, what data did we ignore, asshole? So again, what is this? So your whole argument is going to be based on this premise of an absolute statement that no anti-natalist actually made. So it's not like you're quoting an actual anti-natalist anywhere. Life is suffering, right? I mean, Benatar doesn't say that. I haven't said that. I don't know who you're quoting. Who are you quoting? Buddha. Well, Buddha was a poet, so it's a piece of poetry.
Pain, or primarily pain and suffering. I mean, you have to ignore altruism. You have to ignore happiness, kindness.
No, you just have to explain what all of those things are out of. And clearly, altruism can be argued that there is no real such thing, that everything has to be converted into some self-interest. So you do things because you don't want to be humiliated, you don't want to embarrass yourself, you don't want to be a hypocrite or duplicitous. So if you say something like, I love you guys, and then you don't jump on the grenade, you know, it makes you a hypocrite. So if you say, I love you guys, I'd do anything for you guys, then you have to jump on the grenade, you know, that kind of thing. So you always have to make it personal somehow, fuckhead. So again, these are all concepts that probably you haven't thought about enough to even have a conversation about. You just rifle them off like there's some kind of ideas that you've actually considered. I don't think you really have considered the psychology behind any of these things you might call fun or rewarding experiences, to find the real core of what's in their experience, what makes the person do it. You think Trump is president of the United States because he's altruistic? That he cares about people? Then you're really, really, really fucking stupid.
Compassion, frustration, apathy, ecstasy. You have to ignore transcendence, and you also have to ignore the fact that people treat some.
Well, transcendence. Wow. So he threw that in there like that's a nothing word. Like that's something everybody knows what a transcendence is. You know, what do you mean? What's a transcendence? What are you talking about? I have to ignore the transcendence. Is that like diarrhea or something? Like positive diarrhea is like having transcendence? What the fuck is being transcendent? I never had one of those. I mean, I've had orgasms. You know, even when I'm sleeping, I've had some that are really weird. But I never had a transcendence. What the fuck is a transcendence? So yeah, maybe I'm the one who's clueless because I don't understand that there's this whole part of life that I'm missing is the transcendence from life, you see. The part of life where you're not living and you're doing some transcending thing. You're exceeding your life thing. It's the extra bit. Well, then I'd argue, why don't you just do the extra bit separate? Why don't you do your little transcendence thing and stay in your little transcendence pool and quit fiddling with other people's food, so to speak. Play with your own poo.
Suffering and pain in a wide array of, or a wide variety of different manners. Some people pursue suffering as a means to a particular goal. In that way, they subordinate.
Again, and the goal will be something that will be relieving more suffering. So yes, they work to make money so they can be comfortable at home at night and don't have to go to work at night. That kind of thing. You know, they work to have comforts and you have to purchase them, and that sort of sucks. So that's another reason why life isn't too cool, because it seems like we have to purchase kind of minimums. Just to be able to survive, you're obligated to go to the gulag and pay the man. Just even to get the minimum, just to feed yourself. They're going to obligate you to play your game. I'm going to be obligated to play in your Borg just to squeak by physically. You know, let alone be comfortable in some way. Just to meet the minimum standards of survival. You know, the minimum decency of having a place to, you know, wash up and such. Fuck you. You're an idiot.
Pain, misery, suffering, to some other goal which will ultimately bring them happiness, or some other desired end.
Again, there's no permanent happiness, so bringing happiness is like bringing survival. Like, what does that mean? Survive until what? You're dead? I mean, it's just mushy talk. So here you are with your first principle. Shouldn't one of the first principles it be that you shouldn't use mushy words in conversation, little love words and shit like happiness? What the fuck does that mean? Happiness for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 58 minutes? What? What are you talking about? Happiness even though you have cancer? I mean, come on. Silly shit. And really, do you realistically think if I could dig up all the dead people and we could have a vote, that the people with the most perspective, like they actually knew, oh shit, I had my fucking Alzheimer's for 10 years, I'm sitting there in a nursing home shitting my pants. Yeah, that was horrible. What a fucking humiliating mess. And it's true, I didn't do anything decent in my life. I mean, I cheated on my wife. I didn't really give a fuck about my kids. You don't understand that people, their real life gets exposed and you see they really don't care about any of the shit they say they cared about, and it's just sort of obvious that they're all living lies. They're all sitting in their closet with the fucking robotic dildo machine, you know, jabbing them in the anus. You know. Fuck you, you're an idiot. There's no dignity in this. There's no redeeming feature. There's just a long pile of ripped to pieces, you know, eviscerated bodies with their skins ripped off, pretending they're still in the game. I'm still winning. Maybe. A little bit.
Right, so that's my position. That's why I think arguing from first principles is kind of an arrested.
Oh yeah, you didn't make an argument. So that's my position is I'll pretend I made a really good argument. I'll pretend that I have this whole idea that really good arguments are made out of talking about good arguments. But I won't actually make a good argument. I'll just talk about how a good argument might have looked if I actually made one. But I didn't make any, so there's no, you know, but I'll fool most of you, right? You could fool some of the people, some of the time. You can fool all the people, most of the time. Yes, people are suckers. So go for it. See if you can fool some suckers into thinking you made an argument.
alien Kantian idea. That's what I think makes it so
You
good,
are
is
a
you can
cunt.
really dive into any particular argument and eviscerate it, particularly if it's a really weak argument, like in the case of antinatalism. So,
So again, he thinks he made an argument and he eviscerated something and he annihilated it with some kind of argument that he made, pointing out how there isn't a real value problem with life. That, there's a real question to be asked. How much do you pay for this, especially when you're using other people's money? You're going to the store, you're going to buy some torture and some other nasty bits associated with whatever it is you're after, the little shiny, plastic piece of jewelry. You want a little pretty necklace or something. And, there's this whole pile of bad stuff attached to that, and you're just going to decide for somebody else that, no, that's the part you get. I get the shiny bits, you get the shit bits. And fuck you. And that's your attitude. And that's an argument somehow. You made the winning argument by saying fuck you to the victims. Fuck you.
hopefully, I keep saying this every video, hopefully I'll never talk about this again. I imagine that's probably not going to be the case as long as these antinatalist monkeys keep pestering my YouTube and Twitter. I'm sure I'll have to keep talking about this. I actually just ordered David Benatar's book, Better Never to Have Been, and I'm going to read it, and I'm planning on...
Oh, I thought you already had. Yeah, it's kind of funny that, so I guess you just responded to the Sam Harris interview or something, but you didn't really read the book? Well, it's okay with me. I thought you had read the book. I thought if you're going to attack a guy's entire philosophy, you would have read his book, but okay.
On writing and publishing a rebuttal, and that will be my official last comment on this issue. Until the next one. Anyway, find me on Twitter, Gab, Periscope, at RealJoshNeil every Sunday night. Check me out on the Jefferson Lee YouTube channel. I co-host the Broken Arrow podcast with, you guessed it, Mr. Jefferson Lee, every 7:30 p.m.
Well, he must be a super douche. Yes.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday nights. We do a 2-hour live stream, Q&A. We do a news roundup. We break down some of the biggest news stories of that week. Sometimes we drink beer. Sometimes we drink coffee. No matter...
really interesting. Yes, yada, yada. I'm just so fucking fascinated. Can you see I'm so fascinated. It's just all over my face. Isn't it obvious? It's obvious that life is wonderful. Isn't it obvious that I'm just totally interested in what you do? I have to see Josh.
No matter what's going on, we always have fun. The audience is growing. We want the audience to continue to grow. So I hope to see you there. Thanks. I'll see you next time.
Well, that was trivial and useless, yes. There's no argument in there, right? The argument from, it's obvious, which I don't think so. And I defeated a cartoon character of your argument, like some kind of half Schopenhauer thing, booty thing or something. And therefore, I defeated it by just merely pointing out that it's too myopic and it's not considering all the fun bits, like cheating on your wife. I mean, those are fun bits, right? Yeah, they are. They still aren't good, though, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the other catch. Most of your fun bits, they're not good bits. They're the bits like where it's fun to eat cheese or something. Well, yeah, it's fun for you. It's just not fun for the cow that made the cheese. But you don't get that either. Because you're really, really, really stupid. So anyway. That's enough. Alright, I've done my job, so to speak. But yes, please, sue me. Please, please, please. Anybody who can find something I've done that's illegal and they need to sue me, sue me. Sue me, please. Because, yeah, being sued is easy. Suing is tough. But being sued, that's a breeze. Anyway. Unless you're guilty of something. Funny. So anyway, till next time and such. I think that's enough. Probably. There's probably something else I should mention, but I don't. It just doesn't occur to me at the minute. So maybe next time or something. Yeah, that's it.